Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Tori. I'm a licensed therapist. I was also on season 42 of Survivor, and what I'm going to do today is I'm going to share from this. This is very special to me. So this, it looks like just a simple notebook, but this holds all of my memories from Survivor. So I knew going into Survivor, going into reality show, that there was going to be a very small percentage of my story and my experience shown. Like, I totally understand that, yes, of course, we all want our story shown the way we want it shown, but at the end of the day, we're on a reality television show. They are going to narrate a story. It's going to be the most entertaining one, the one that relates to who wins, whatever stories and narratives they want to push. Like, I totally understood that. So I just knew I needed to do a really good job of documenting my own story because I wanted to be able to look back on my Survivor experience years and years and years from now and remember what happened. Because I can watch the show, and if all I did was watch the show, it'd be a very different experience than what I remembered. One of the biggest examples I can give is that I thought my kind of narrative or storyline in the show was going to be that of this underdog, like America's sweetheart. Everyone was going to be rooting for me. I was this underdog who kept, slipping by tribal council after tribal council. I won the first 2 individual immunities when they were trying to take me out. And then I go out in a Hallmark tribal council. I am the first and only woman who has ever played Survivor that has gotten voted out verbally. So we didn't even go to a paper or a parchment and pen vote. So I just thought I was gonna have a totally different story. I thought it was gonna be super emotional and they were gonna show my faith. Nope, I was a sassy villain, which I'm okay with. I'm totally okay with, because like I said, I knew I was signing up for a reality show and I enjoyed watching myself back, but it was a very different experience than I thought I was gonna have watching back, which is why today what I'm going to do is I'm going to read directly from this on what I had titled, and yes, I did title all of my entries. It says, "What I Remember from the Game, My Story." So literally it says it at the top in red, "What I remember from the game, my story." What I want to preface is that I wrote this when I was on Ponderosa. So I was still in Fiji. This was very fresh. I had just gotten voted out of the game. So I had a very limited perspective of other people on the island. Okay, so if I say some sassy things in here about people, which I do, I want you to take it with a grain of salt because I've gotten to experience and get to know many of these people outside of the game of Survivor. I was very much on the outs. People didn't want to talk to me. So I didn't really get to form any deep social relationships on the island, but after, when I was on Ponderosa, and now that it's been about 1.5 years since I've been back, I've gotten to really get to know these people. So I'll just preface that. I don't really want to edit or take away what I actually wrote here because this is really what I was thinking and feeling in the moment. But please just don't come at me too hard for those things that I say. Okay, so here we go. Day 1, this is what I remember. This is my story from Survivor. We did a challenge for Flint and I stepped up for the first leg because I wanted to do the shorter distance. I'm gonna go into this. So if you remember on season 42 of Survivor, remember how they had that amulet twist where Drea and Lindsay had to go and they covered themselves in mud and the fake blood, and they got that twist of they each had a part of an amulet, and the longer they were in the game, the stronger and more powerful it got, and the less of them that were there, the more powerful the amulet got. I remember too that was on the long leg of the race. So before we ever started that challenge, that very first challenge, Jeff told us, all right, there's gonna be a short distance run, and there's gonna be a longer distance run, and then people are gonna go on the boat, blah, blah, blah. So when it came time for my tribe, for Ika to decide who did what leg of the race, I knew I did not want the long distance run. So when Dre and I were talking about who was gonna do which, because we were gonna be the 2 runners, I lied, this is karma. And I told her, I said, well, the second leg is the shorter one, so I'll take the first one. No, I knew that the first leg was the shorter distance, so where you just run up the hill, untie the canoe paddles, and then you run back down. So it's just so funny looking back that I tricked her into thinking she was running the short leg of the race because I didn't want to do the long run. And if I had been honest and said, okay, I'll take the long run, I would have gotten that amulet. I would have had some type of an alliance with Hai and Lindsay, and like, wow, how different my experience would have been. But shoulda, woulda, coulda. I played Survivor, and I can rest peacefully knowing that. Okay, so I was the fastest untying knots, which I was really scared because it was me going against Goliath and Daniel, but it was Goliath, so I was very nervous, but I untied mine first. Daniel shoved me whenever we first started running. On the way back, I tripped and Jonathan leaped over me. It was epic. I remember that being like, in my mind, the coolest thing. I was a super loud cheerleader for my tribe when Rockstory was putting together the puzzle to get the flint. And when we got back to camp, I lied to everyone on my tribe and I said that I've never done organized sports. So I was shocked at how I was so loud and competitive in the challenge, but that was just a lie because I didn't want to be so out there and loud right at the get-go. Yeah, so I was going back to the camp and I was like, crap, I totally let my crazy competitive energy show when I was trying to like decrease my threat level. It just seemed like I'm there to have a good time, be a nice person. So I came up with this lie that, guys, I am so shocked that I was so loud because I was screaming. So I lied and said I had never done organized sports and that I was just so shocked by that. I failed miserably on doing the pom bronze, but I did connect with Swathi. It was Swathi, Zach, and I. Also, Swathi, Drea, and I were for the girl gang, and then Romeo and I connected on faith and pageants. So I felt like I was putting myself in a really good position of being aligned with Swathi and Zach. I also had this girl gang that I wanted to do with Swathi and Drea, but someone refused to do it. And then Romeo and I really connected because we had both been involved in pageants. Our faith was really important. And then there was Rockstory, and I didn't connect with him on the island at the start. I went taro hunting to find food for my tribe by myself for literally 10 minutes, and then it started the idol rumors. But I was legit too scared of the huge spiders to even look for the idol, LOL. Yeah, oh my gosh, I'm so disappointed in myself that, you know, I go to Survivor. I even put on this list of like what I hope for in the game. It was like to find and correctly use 2 to 3 hidden immunity idols. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really even look that hard at all for an idol because of all the spiders. And I knew that you were gonna have to go off the path or like look in trees or dig stuff up. And like, there was just huge colorful spiders everywhere in Fiji that I couldn't do it. So the fact that they were accusing me of looking for an idol or even having an idol, I was like, you guys are joking, right? Like in the first 5 minutes, you've seen how scared I am of spiders, but whatever. Honestly, they probably could have thought I was lying about that because I was lying a lot. So it was the first official challenge and it was meant for 6 people, but Jackson left for personal reasons. So I put personal reasons because at that time we didn't realize what happened. Jeff didn't give us any more information other than Jackson's out of the game, and that's that. The waves were huge, almost drowned. And for the first time ever, Jeff had to stop a challenge because it was too difficult, dangerous, and he knew we weren't gonna finish. I consider myself a strong swimmer, and I was holding on to the metal camera stands that were in the water that had the camera crew on them because I was genuinely scared that I was not gonna be able to swim. It was very scary. Zach then did and deconstructed the correct puzzle. Yay, we lost, hee hee, exclamation point. So I was actually happy we lost because I knew I was gonna get more airtime in that first episode if my tribe went to tribal council. That's funny. Uh-oh though, my name was out there because of tarot and the idol rumor. I was terrified I was going to be the first person voted out. I prayed and cried in the ocean. My emotions freaked people out. So that was something they did not show, is that because I was so emotional and scared that I was gonna be the first person voted out, a lot of people in the tribe started not to trust me. They're like, you know, essentially it's like, hey, we're saying we have you. If you're this emotional, that shows you don't trust us. But in my mind, I'm like, I don't know if you guys are all just like amazing liars or not. Like you guys could all be lying to me like I'm lying to you. And so I was just so scared that like these people could be lying to my face just like I am lying to their face. And I'm not gonna know until we get to tribal council and either I'm going home or I'm not. It was so scary. It was so scary, oh my gosh. It was Zach versus me at tribal council going at it. I slept through that night because I made it, and I would not get up in the middle of the night to tend the fire because of self-preservation. So we would always be like, okay, we need to get up. You know, if you get up, make sure to tend the fire, put more stuff. I would just get up, see it was almost out. I'm like, someone will wake up at some point and they can do it. Like I was trying to get my beauty sleep. I was trying to eat as much as I could. It's a dog-eat-dog world out there on Survivor. I was gonna do whatever it took to put me first. I was gonna take like my heart and caring and taking care of people. No, I needed to focus on me so I could make it through. The next challenge was the blindfolded challenge. I killed it, and I still didn't get any credit from my tribe for the puzzle because they were blindfolded. Drea got the credit. Ugh. So yeah, that was really frustrating. I was very much underlooked on my tribe. I remember there was one of the first challenges, it was that drowning challenge with the ladder, that my tribe was genuinely considering whether it was gonna be me or Romeo who sat out. I was like, oh my gosh, okay. And then whenever we did the blindfold puzzle, Swathi and I were trying to do it together. It was not working. Drea was not giving a direction. So I was like, Swathi, move out. I'm going to do this myself. I tried to do it and everyone was blindfolded. So it looked like the caller, Drea, got all the credit. So I decided to adopt the strategy of being in the background and giving other people the credit to enlarge their threat level while decreasing my threat level. It worked a little too well though, because it started to seem like people didn't value me. Okay, then we had the immunity challenge where one person was doing the braid puzzle, you know, where you like move it like that, and I did it. I killed it for my tribe. I was so fast at the braid puzzle, beat everyone else. I chopped the rope in 3 hits. I untied the knots really fast. Once again though, I felt like I didn't get credit since Drea and Rox closed the challenge with the slingshot. And then there was the water challenge where Swathi and I pulled the boat. We were swimming, pulling it. And of course, Drea tried to take credit by saying her and Roxroy helped us so much by pushing off the side. I didn't volunteer for the fish puzzle, even though I knew I could do it, because I wanted to lose that challenge and I wanted Drea to be part of the reason why. And then of course we lost and she blamed Roxroy and I for not helping more from the background. So yeah, I threw a challenge that immunity, the second challenge where we lost, where Ika had to go to tribal council, I intentionally through that challenge, I wanted to go to tribal council. Number one, I was bored. Like if you're not going to tribal council or you're not competing, it's kind of boring out there, I'm gonna be honest. And also our tribe was just weird. I was not getting along with people. People weren't trusting each other. There's just some weird rift in our tribe that I wanted to figure out before we went to the merge. Because I was not about to go to merge with a lot of numbers and with no one trusting each other. I know what happens in Survivor. I believe that's the pagonging, right? I'm pretty sure that's the strategy. Let me know in the comments, fact check me. So I threw that challenge and I wanted Drea to be the downfall. And so she went on the puzzle and she failed the puzzle because I wanted people to see maybe we should not keep her in the game. Okay, moving on. I knew things were weird that night before going to tribal council when Swathi ignored me. I pretended to still want the girl gang, tried to ease her fears, and then at tribal, Swathi ripped into me. And then I had a savage comment. You know, I tell my allies not to believe anything they hear me saying to someone else. So this is my strategy, is I would tell every single person that I talked to on the island, like, hey, I've got you. No, I told people in my alliance, I was like, I have you. If you ever hear anything that contradicts what we've said, you just have to understand that I'm lying to someone else, okay? What I am telling to you right now is the truth. I need you to hold on to that. And if you hear something different, you're gonna hear something different. I'm gonna have to lie to people, okay? And I was trying to explain that to Jeff at Tribal Council. And then Jeff said, well, yeah, in theory that might work. Like if you're, but then you're just saying that to everyone and who can then trust you. So then I said, and this was cut out, I said, okay, then Drea, Romeo, I'm telling you the truth. Swathi, I'm lying to you. Just because I could not go home because of the whatever Swathi was trying to pull. But then I don't really know why they cut that out. I thought that was kind of cool of me. And then I almost got sent home because Swathi played her shot in the dark and Roxroy voted for me. Thank you, Jesus. Clearly, my strategy of pretending to be more emotional, weak, less intimidating had the opposite effect because it made my allies not trust me. Because if I truly trusted them, then I wouldn't be paranoid. So there we go, that's that same thought. However, it was hard to trust Drea because Swathi told me that Drea was coming after me. Which now, looking back on the show, we realized Swathi was putting us all against each other. Good move on her part. Roxroy literally voted for me, so I couldn't trust him. And then I saw Romeo getting close to Drea. So my game changed when I tried harder to get close to Romeo and I pulled him away from Drea. So this was a moment in the game that I saw my game kind of falling apart. I was like, crap. Zach and Swathi, who I wanted to be closest to in the game, have now gone. Like I had to turn against them. They are now gone. I'm gonna be the next to go. But then I said, no, Tori, you have watched Survivor. You have watched all the times when people are on the bottom, they literally don't have any good options and yet they make it through. So I was like, you know what? I've always said I want to play like Kim Spradlin. And what did Kim do so well? She made every single person feel like they were her number one. And so I was like, I'm gonna work on the relationship with Romeo because I saw on Ika that Romeo was running stuff. Like Romeo was killing it pre-merge on Ika. And so I really was like, okay, screw this. I'm gonna fight socially and try to get closer to Romeo, also try to repair the relationship with Roxroy. So then we have the fake merge. Praise God for the absolutely perfect split up. I was the only Ika member, and I had Jonathan for an incredibly physical challenge. We were rolling that huge ball, and Roxroy was left out. He and I had been butting heads, so it was good to get some space. Oh yeah, and I also forgot that when Roxroy came back from the summit and he refused to tell me what he would have had to sacrifice if he chose to risk. That was my first time being sassy to his face. This was the scene that they did show of me being incredibly sassy, me and Roxroy going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. My team went Applebee's, and I said don't trust Rox, so that they would send him to exile so that my Ika alliance would hold the power. I made people think Ika is divided and fractured so they would see me as a free agent, even though I'm secretly wanting to stay Ika strong. So yeah, that's something that didn't get shown, is that yes, I was really playing up that like, oh my gosh, I can't stand Ika. And that was true. Like, I didn't want to work with him. We weren't getting along. But I know in Survivor, you do that. Like, I wanted to work with these other people with the merge, but then actually really have Ika strong. Like, I thought that was a good strategy, but if Ika doesn't want to stay Ika strong, then it's not gonna work out. The twist is that Roxroy took away my safety. I gave that to him because I genuinely was helping him. I was helping our Ika alliance, and he took it away from me. He took away my safety. I acted upset because I helped him and I knew he'd enjoy being alone on exile, and I gave him the reward. Like, I literally was doing him a favor. I gave him the reward, and I knew Roxroy, he wanted to be alone on exile. Oh well, didn't matter because I won first individual immunity. This worked well because before the challenge, when I thought I was safe, I was talking to Chanel and Omer, and I was saying that I was rooting for them and that I wouldn't vote them out if they lost. I tried connecting strategically with people when I was safe to prove that I genuinely wanted to work with them. So that's where I had like the fake safety of the purple buffs before Roxroy took it away. I was really talking to the people who were at risk, like Chanel and Omer, and being like, I really want to work with you. Like, I'm gonna keep you safe. I'm not gonna vote for you, which I thought was gonna work out well, really well in my favor whenever it came time that I was gonna be on the chopping block, and then they would know I was genuinely wanting to work with them. I was totally unaware in that first vote of the merge. I thought it was Jonathan, and so I tried to save Jonathan by throwing out High's name. That's where you see the scene of me saying to Jonathan, you know, I really want to win more individual immunities, and you're standing in my way. And so I said, hey, I see what's going on, and I think High is gonna try to run this thing. We need to get him out. So if it was up to me, High would have been the first vote out at the merge, because I saw what he was doing. He was playing a really good social and strategic game. So I was trying to go to Jonathan, even though I knew he was kind of wanting to work with High, but saying like, hey, let's work together. Let's get someone out because they're trying to get you out. That was the moment I was, you know, being told, oh, here's the plan. And so I was gonna go to the person with the plan and try to make a new plan. It obviously didn't work. And then we had the buoy challenge, which was where we negotiated for rice. I didn't want anyone to have rice at all. It ended up being a win-win because people sat out for the rice and I won. Yeah, and the reason I didn't want rice is because I was fine physically. Like, I was not dying of starvation because I was making sure to eat as many things as I could, like seaweed, lizards, worms, coconuts, all limpets. Like, I was not struggling, and I saw people were really struggling because people would go days and days without even opening a coconut. And so I was like, no, I don't want you guys to get rice because then you're gonna get fuel, and I'm doing fine. But, oh well. And then I knew that I needed to be more certain this vote because the previous vote was way too big. It was chaotic. I had no idea what was going on. I wanted to pull in Chanel as a number into the misfit militia. That was one of my strategies going into the game, was to get all the people on the bottom, the underdogs, the kind of weirdos. I wanted to play with those people and have a misfit militia. But Romeo, Omer, and Marianne told me that we can't trust Chanel. So my goal was to really bring in Chanel, Romeo, Omer, Marianne, myself to go against the bigger personal lines with like Jonathan, Drea, High, and all those people. I hated being a passenger instead of a driver, but I was willing if it'd get me farther. I also wanted to use Marianne's extra vote to flip the power to the misfits because I saw there was a big alliance forming, and I was like, this is a critical time where we need to get the power. We need to get the numbers. But then that got shut down. Then we had the triangle balance challenge. I lost. Drea was going home, but then a deeper combo ensued and I was voted out. So there we go. That is my version of the game. So yeah, I was a lot more than just a bratty girl who's rolling my eyes. I tried to do as much strategy, but I mean, I'm gonna be honest, like, I would love to play Survivor again because I don't really feel like I got to do much strategy at all. I mean, there is only so much you can do when no one is wanting to work with you, when there are lies being spread about you. Like, there were lies that I was not actually engaged, even though I had gotten engaged 3 weeks before going out. There was lies that I was going through people's bags. Not true, never did that. I did say, should we go through his bag? I did say that when rocks were coming back from the summit, but I didn't. There's also a lie that I would drink so much water. Like our water bottles, I would drink 7 at least a day because I knew dehydration is gonna hit me a lot more than starvation. And so I would drink a lot, therefore I'd have to fill up at the well a lot. And people would say, and by people, this is all one person, I'll let you guess who it was spreading all of those lies about me, that I would dump out my water just so that I could go to the water well to look for idols. Like there was a lot of character assassination, which honestly it worked because I got into the merge and no one would talk to me. I remember too that Chanel and I, we would have like these secret meetups because I really like Chanel. Like we got along, we bonded on certain things. Like the church she goes to is the same church I went to. And whenever we would talk, I'd be like, okay, let's go back to camp. She's like, well, I'm gonna go this way, then you're gonna go that way. And I thought she was super paranoid. I'm like, girl, everyone's talking to everyone. Like we don't have to be secretive about it. But now I realize it's because she couldn't be seen talking to me. Because even if you were seen talking to me, it's almost like you got X'd out. People weren't gonna trust you. So I don't really know what I could have done to prevent that character assassination other than getting a certain person out at the beginning of the game. But I was really wanting to do this like girl gang thing and keep strong women together instead of trying to compete against each other because I don't think that's a good look. I'm so much more of a proponent of like strong women empowering each other. But that was my game. That's what I remembered. And some of this came through. I think a lot of my strategy though did completely get cut out of the game, which once again, I'm okay. If it's the strategy of just like squeaking by, throwing people under the bus, winning individual immunities, I mean, at the end of the day, I gotta play Survivor. That's my story, but I have these notes and these memories to keep with me. Thank you for coming along. I have a lot of other things in this journal, such as like my impressions of the other players, when my body image experience in Survivor. I journaled every single day of Ponderosa, a bunch of different favor from the Lord, how I saw him show up. I talked about what I was going to share with my family. I have a love letter to my fiance. So we will get into it, but make sure to subscribe if you want to see these videos and when they are posted. I just love making Survivor content because it's replaying it in my mind and reminding me that like that actually happened. That was a dream come true. So thanks for coming along this journey with me. Make sure to subscribe and tune in when I'm dropping more Survivor exclusive content. Thanks for watching.